Just had a couple of deliveries today. I've got a measuring jug for when I change my oil. So I'll be doing, but I've also got this. I've been waiting for this for a while. So this is a little package from China that I ordered from eBay. Not an AliExpress order. It was actually from eBay, but it comes from the same place. Quite excited about it. A few of the guys on the Facebook group, Jaguar Facebook group, have got the same one. I think theirs is carbon fibre. Let's have a look. So it's pretty well packaged. This is polystyrene. No damage so far, but the box doesn't seem damaged, so it's pretty good. No import duty either, and I think this cost me £130 on eBay, and it's real carbon fibre apparently. So if it is and everything's like as it is, that's a bargain, absolute bargain. So sorry about the shirt and tie, just got home from work. It's light. Speed this bit up, I think. Well packed. Right, okay, let's have a look. So, that's looking good. Yeah, definitely carbon fibre. Very nice finish.
It's really decent.
And it's already pre-fitted with the 3M tape.
Do you think it's real 3M?
It's actually looks like real 3M. Quite often you just get MM, so it makes it look like it's 3M, but it's not. But it actually does say 3M on it, so it could potentially be real 3M. Already pre-fitted, that's good. Because quite often you get a spoiler and it just comes with a roll of it. I know a spoiler I fitted in the past, I actually used Tiger Seal instead of tape. So that sucker's never going to come off.
What's Tiger Seal?
Tiger Seal is like a silicone sealant,
Oh.
but it grips. It's mega. Yes, that would never come off. But it's real carbon fibre. It's pretty impressive.
Let's have a closer look at that again. Does look good.
You can see the pattern of the weave change. You can actually feel it.
Yeah.
This side where it hasn't got as much of the gel coat, I should imagine, I guess, or the resin. There's not so much there, and you can actually feel the carbon fibre. It is real, 100% real carbon fibre.
It does look real. It does really look real.
100% real. Nice. So, nice sunny day. It's the weekend. You know what that means? It's spoiler day. And see up there? That's a plane, right? Plane's generating lift, which is aerodynamics. This is exactly what we're going to be talking about right now. Okay. So it's good timing. Thank you very much.
It was.
So basically, why a spoiler? Because on the back of the XFR, we've got this tiny little spoiler. I'll show you what that actually means. Okay. So when air hits the car, it comes across this bonnet, right? When it hits here, it travels over the top of the car, okay, all the way along and back down. Now, as it's coming down this slope, if it comes off here, it will continue coming down here. And that sort of arc shape is a longer distance to travel of the air than what it would be for the air coming straight across underneath the car. So the air underneath the car is going straight, so it's got a constant speed. The air going across the top's got further to travel to meet the other air underneath, when it comes up from underneath. because it's got further to travel, it's got to travel faster to get there. When air travels faster, it actually has a lower pressure, which is just like the aeroplane wing, generates lift. So, if you travel fast enough, with aerodynamics like this, it will actually start taking off. In theory, right? But that's why they put aerodynamic tweaks on the car. So, because this is a fast car, you have things like this. So as the air comes down here, hits this, instead of it carrying on, this little spoiler spoils the airflow. That's why it's called a spoiler.
I didn't know
Spoils
that.
the airflow. The air comes down here and gets lifted here, and it creates a vortex there, which slows that airflow down. So it brings it back down to more neutral air pressures, which keeps it on the road.
I didn't know that about the
That's
name.
why it's called a spoiler.
I didn't know that at all.
So the ones that are on the back up here, they're called wings. Because basically it's an aeroplane wing, but upside down. So again, the airflow comes underneath. Has got a dome shape coming this way, right? It's not the fact that the air's hitting that, pushing it down. It's the fact the air that goes underneath travels further, which has a lower pressure, which sucks it down to the floor. That's what a wing does, okay? So that's why a diffuser is really important. So when it curves back up, I haven't got a proper one on here,
He has ordered one though.
but the air comes up, and you've got this on there, right, for a reason. Because it allows the airflow to come up like that, smoothly. If that was straight, and you think, oh, that looked good, because it's nice and low to the ground, right? If it was just straight, the airflow wouldn't smoothly come back in. You actually create drag, and you wouldn't have that low pressure that you actually get when it's like this. So that increases the lift, which means your car is going to fly. But not in speed terms, it's going to actually lift. So yeah, so that's why these are really important. If you have ones with the fins, it just increases that effect, because the airflow doesn't flow out to the sides, it keeps it in track. And that increases that effect. So going back to this, why am I changing it? Well, a little bit more aggressive looks. This is very subtle, but the one I've got comes up just slightly. It's just going to spoil that airflow just a little bit more, which should give you a little bit more downforce, a little bit more drag as well, but a little bit more stability when it's going faster, and it's going to look fucking cool. So just a bit of background about me, because you're probably going to think, well, how does he know about aerodynamics? But I'm actually an aerospace engineer by trade, and from my go-kart racing and love for Formula 1 and stuff like that, I love aerodynamics, and I've looked into it a hell of a lot and used it on my own go-kart. Some secret bits in there, but you know, let's not tell anyone about those, right? so yeah, just so you know, I'm not just talking a load of waffle and thinking I'm just trying to justify why I'm putting a different one on, because it's carbon fiber and it looks really cool. But yeah, there's some science behind it. Not that I'm going to need it traveling to work or back, but I just wanted you guys to know what it actually does and what it means. Okay, so anyway, so let's take this sucker off. Okay, so if any of you have seen my my paddle shift extension video, you saw where I had to take off the sticky stuff from the old ones. These spoilers are put on with the same sort of tape, it's 3M tape basically. So there's this adhesive surface, foam pad, then adhesive surface in between. So I'm just going to break that foam pad into using this sort of well, I've got some lacing cord, like really thin, not shoelace, it's the lacing cord from the aerospace industry. So it can work, okay? But you could use stuff like some fishing wire or something like that. You don't want anything that's going to scratch your paintwork.
So no metal.
So no metal, exactly.
No
so
fuse
fishing
wires.
wire would be decent. But this should help cut through it. Don't know how far I'm going to get through, because you got the curve of this, so it's got to go around it. But we'll give it a go, see how far we get before I start having to claw into it a little bit more. Right, so let's give it a go. Okay, so I'm going to start off over here in the corner. See, there was nothing there, right on the very edge. And then what I'm going to do, put it in there, put it around. Now I'm actually going to do it at an angle, like that, so it's not drastically around the corner like that. So I'm going to do sort of like a 45-degree angle.
How strong is that stuff?
This stuff's pretty strong.
It looks it.
Look at that.
You're going through that really quickly. I really didn't expect that. I thought I'd be stood here for like 10 minutes filming you
No,
doing
she said she's going to put it on a time lapse.
Yeah, I really was.
You don't need to.
I was going to
Right,
speed it up and everything.
Right, I'm going to just get to a fresh bit because I think it's getting gummed up.
Nice.
Right, keep going.
I'm really surprised how quick you've just done that.
Right, you can use one of your hands to
Okay,
hold
do you want me
it.
to hold the other end again?
Yep. There you go. So hopefully that should just come off now. There you go. Voila. One spoiler removed without damaging the spoiler or the paintwork. What's left though, as you can see, is the rest of the stickiness and all the dirt that's been getting under there for the past God knows how many years. So I'm gonna take this off, possibly polish it, but let's see what it looks like after I've done that. Okay, let me show you what I've got for it. Give me 1 second. So I just thought it's a unique opportunity to see what they look like together whilst this outlines on the car. So here's the old one. For you to have a look at the profile of that and look at it from the other angle if you go around that side, so you can see what airflow you got coming along. It's coming down and coming here, and you just got a little tiny edge there to just try and spoil that airflow, just tiny like that. Okay, so if I just take this one off, put this one on from that angle, I think that's going to be
Don't drop
there.
it.
Okay, you'll see that airflow coming down, hitting this, and then being pushed up. So it's going to spoil it a hell of a lot more. And you can see from the side, it's a lot higher than this one, and pushes further back than this one. So let me just get this one out of the way.
It's really hard to tell on camera, but that is enormous compared to the original one.
Yeah, and it's still a subtle spoiler as well, right?
But it looks
if you come up here,
badass.
stay there.
Okay.
So there, it doesn't come down as far around the corner, so it doesn't need to. Okay, so that's all the way down there and there. It's almost the same as the original one in the middle. Comes down to a nice point there, which makes it look kind of a little bit Batman-esque. And I like Batman a lot.
He does like Batman.
Batman and the Punisher are my favourites.
Oh, yeah.
So then that comes up. It kind of follows this sort of line there. It's quite nice. So it's nicely shaped for the car, for sure, with a nice aggressive tones. But anyway, if we go to the top, look how much further back it starts. So the original spoiler's there. It starts a lot further back. But so it's just basically coming over that curved edge. The one thing I have noticed with this spoiler, which may pose a little bit of a problem, because it's carbon fiber, it doesn't necessarily bend and flex, right? So if I push down into the corners, the middle bit's slightly high. So if I push down into the middle, you see that little lift there? I've got to get that down. I don't think the 3M tape is going to be strong enough. I'll try it, but if it's not, I may have to get some black tiger seal, put it in there and put some weight on there to hold it down. Not as ideal because it's a lot harder to remove than what we just done there. So I'm thinking if I can do it with the tape, when I come to sell the car, just do the same process, right? I could take this off, put the original one back on. The person who's buying the car could have an original spoiler or the one that you bought. Then you can sell it on, whichever. At least you've got options. But the tiger seal is sticks really well. So I know it'll hold it down, but it's just harder to get off. But I haven't bought any because I'm hoping not to use it, but if I do need it, I'll have to do that after. So this is something I bought off Amazon for under £3. So it's a sticker removal. Shouldn't affect the paintwork, but basically you apply it on there and it will eat into the adhesive part of it, and then you can scrape it off with the scraper and get rid of it. And you'll need some rags as well to get rid of it again. But that I'll use this similar stuff, but made from RS components at work, and it works really well. But I may take off the big amounts of this foam first to get down to the adhesive layer, rather than using this stuff just for this stuff. So I'm going to just take this off first. Like I said, this stuff cost £3 off Amazon, and it came within a few days. I didn't pay for the well, you can get it for £5 if it's Amazon Prime, if you've got Prime membership, or about £3. That's not Amazon Prime, but with free delivery. So plan ahead, guys. Get it. Don't get to this stage and go, oh shit, I need to remove this. I'll drive down to Halfords and buy something, because you're going to be paying a lot more for stuff like that. Get off the internet, plan ahead, save yourself some money, right? Because I'm all about saving money,
Yep.
as you know.
Oh yes.
All right, let me just take some time doing this. So as it says on the back, directions for use. Apply directly onto the sticker or label. Allow a few minutes for the sticker remover to soak into the surface. Then gently lift the edge with the plastic scraper provided and remove the sticker. Obviously this isn't the sticker, but it's the same sort of stuff. Apply more product and repeat the process until all the residue is gone. So it's as simple as that, really. So let's have a look. Child-proof lid, as you would think.
I hate those things.
It says don't sniff.
But he sniffs it anyway. I think that's
So
just
I don't want this
thing.
going everywhere, right? So, so I'm going to put it onto a rag first, and then just apply it. So all you need to do, okay?
Oh, it smells really strong actually. I can smell that.
It smells citrus.
It does, yeah. Oh, it's,
Which is actually exactly the same smell as the one from RS Components, because it smells like orange. And that bugger's around about £8-9 roughly. But it works really, really well. So I'm confident this is going to work really, really nicely.
So hopefully that'll sink in and just make it easy to lift away.
Yeah, what it does, it kind of almost, I'm not going to say melt, but what it does, the sticky stuff kind of go, you can roll it up into balls really easy.
Ah, okay.
So you can see that's starting to do it already. And if I get the dry end on that, it will start lifting and it will just come off.
Oh yeah, I can see.
But it hasn't been on there long, so let me just put some more back on. Because the RS component stuff is in an aerosol. I didn't want that because you'd be spraying it all over the place.
Yeah.
So this is a nice controlled way of sticking it on. I just let it sink in, let it dissolve the stickiness of the adhesive, and then you just be left with this sort of jelly-like substance that you can remove. It's quite easy and it's quite harmless. We use this sort of product on top of paintwork for units that go into aircrafts. And it doesn't have any detrimental effects to the paintwork at all. And like I said, it smells pleasant. It's just like
It's strong.
orange.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's quite strong, but it's not terrible.
It's not like a solvent. It's not like you're putting any sort of alcohol on it or anything like that. It's nothing like that. Basically, it reacts with the adhesive.
And it doesn't do anything to the paint or anything like that.
No.
What about the Jag badge?
No.
Because it's kind of running down towards the Jag
It'd be
badge.
fine. The only thing it could do is take off the adhesiveness of the Jag badge.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Or Jag badge will fall off.
Whoops.
But let me just keep that.
There we go. Nice and easy.
Wipe off the excess. So I'm just going to carry on reapplying because that's going to soak in. So let's give this a go. So you just want to use this to tease it off basically. You see that comes off. I'm going to need to do some more coats, I think. So I can get some more on there underneath. So we've got to be careful with the paintwork because we know the new spoiler exposes this. I know when I've debadged cars before, done the same method, and you generally have to polish the paintwork after because of the residue of the dirt and grime that's been underneath there. You need to polish it out, otherwise you can see it. So that's not dissolved yet, so we need to give it a bit more time. So as you see, it's starting to come away, but it's still leaving a little bit behind, so I'll just go over it again after. But you see it goes into this mush, kind of stringy mush, rather than the sticky mess it was before. So you just got to remove it.
Nice and gentle.
It'll take a little while, a bit of patience. This little spatula is pretty decent. I think this is going to be the longest part of it, the cleaning.
Yeah.
Okay, let me get on with this. I'll come back to you guys. So what I'm going to do is just put a little bit more on there and let it dissolve that bit, and then it should just easily come off. Just try it now. Just give it a little bit of time. As you can see, there's a tiny little bit left, which I'm just scraping. After I got most of it off, what I'll do is use the cloth. I'll try and get it off, using pressure from a nail and whatever, just to get as much off as I can. And then what I'll then do is polish it. And if any of you have got eagle eyes out there, I can't quite see at the moment, where I use the string to go across it, it has marked the paint slightly, but I'm not worried about that because I knew I was going to be polishing it anyway. As long as it's not scratched, it's not a problem. It might even be residue from the wax on the lace, to be fair, but I'm not sure. But not worried because they're going to polish it anyway. Just trying to get as much of this off as possible. And yeah, this is the most meticulous part of the job. I say that now, but I haven't done the rest of it. Look how weird it looks. For that little tiny spoiler not to be there.
Looks naked.
So I've got some G3 Professional Paint Renovator with the white pad. I'll put a little bit of water on it, just a little tiny bit. I'm just gonna. That helps you kind of be nice and light to the paintwork. So I don't want to scratch it down and then do it first. I'm gonna be as gentle to it as I can to begin with, and see where we get. So I'm using the white sponge first, and I'll use the black sponge after, which is the finisher. Okay, so there's some bigger deposits and a nice line around there from the original spoiler with a build-up of grime. So I'm going to use some scratch removing paste. The paint rejuvenator isn't strong enough for this, I don't think, so I'm going to use a little bit and just be really sparing, because wherever you use this, you've got to buff back up, because this is a fine paste to remove stuff and flatten it back, but then you'll have to polish it back up, so you don't want to start going everywhere. So
I suppose it's one of those things that are quite hard work, so you do it bit by bit.
Yep. Well, I'm just being careful here. I don't want it to go across. I have to rub that in, come on. It's gonna take some time, I think. But I'm definitely not putting the spoiler on until all this is off. I'm not having a line underneath
Oh god,
the
that
spoiler.
looks
That
horrible.
looked absolutely awful. Okay, so if this is the car, this is the front, the air's coming in over the bonnet, hitting the windscreen, going over the top, coming down, and I've just put this little spoiler on the back, little ducktail spoiler, just to show what happens, right? So, I'm just going to hold it like that so it's flopping, easy to move. And I'm going to bring it in, and you'll see it gets held there, but I can put it away quite easily. Okay, so this water is representing the airflow, and I can just pull that away quite easy. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the blue tack on the underside just so it's the same weight, and show you what the difference is when there's no spoiler there. As you can see, the weight of that blue tack is now on the inside of the spoon. I'm going to dangle the spoon just as before. Oh, it kind of just sucked straight out of my hand there. So you see it's moving into it. So I've got to put it all the way over there before it removes. And that's that airflow sucking the spoon that way. As soon as I get it just on there, it attaches to the spoon and goes straight over. See the difference with Aerodynamics? And that's what that little tiny spoiler does, it breaks that and stops that from happening. Cool, science lesson 101. And look at this spoon, Jaguar, spoon, Jaguar, it's the same shape. So now you can see what I meant by the airflow going across, just like the spoon. Right, so guys, I'm going to explain the spoon method on a diffuser, but I've just, getting down here, I just spotted how dirty my tailpipes are. So I've bought some stuff to actually clean those up. It was about 89p. I'll show you that in another video. So watch out for those, okay? So here, anyway, the shape of the car underneath, okay? At the back, like I mentioned earlier on, with the diffuser being curved, you don't want it coming down straight like that. Although it looked really nice and low from the back, you don't want it, and it's not for ground clearance, it's for aerodynamics. So this curvature up here, just like I showed you before with the spoon that way, which the airflow going across and coming along, that curve making it suck upwards, upside down. So the air's coming along, coming around this curved edge, and this is going to suck it this way. So that's when it gets pulled to the floor. That's what this does. It helps control the airflow coming back out to the normal world, reduce the drag, which is good, and gives you downforce. There's suction coming down, so it's drag-free downforce, where a spoiler and a wing creates drag but gives you downforce. So this is free downforce having a diffuser, but this isn't the efficient version. So here you've got to control the air coming from a squeezed gap. Let me get rid of my spoon. A squeezed gap to coming up to this level. So there's a bigger volume area here. So that air suddenly slows down, and it actually gets a higher pressure area here, which means the differential for the pressure here to where it's squeezed down there, where it's going to be a lower pressure, which is what brings that car down. When it gets high here, it actually helps push the car forward, in theory, right? If you had a big low pressure area, so if that came out square, you'd have air coming out low, come to this area where there's suddenly a great big square end, no control of the air coming back up. So it's going to have a big vortex here, which creates a massive low pressure, which actually sucks your car backwards. So you're trying to go forward, and the more speed you get up, the more effect this has. It actually holds you back. So controlling that back into the atmosphere at the back is very, very important. But with this one, it doesn't have any fins on it. So what the fins do, they keep the air in this area. Well, at the moment, that air expansion can get wasted out the back, so you don't get the real effect of it. So by having those fins here, it keeps it in this area, and then you get the full effect of that diffuser. That's why on Formula 1 cars they have great big diffusers coming down, and they're reducing the effect of them this year to slow the cars down by making sure that instead of having a fin that big, it's that big, kind of thing, right? So it actually reduces the downforce they get. So I've got one of these on order with the fins, and that'll be another video later on. So there's plenty of stuff coming up, and I'll explain to you what all these things mean and why I'm doing them. Well then guys, thank you very much. Right, so I know there's going to be guys out there that are going to look at this video and go, there's no point, it doesn't do anything, that spoiler doesn't do anything. Well, I've just showed you it does with the spoon. I just want to cast some people's minds back to when Audi introduced the TT range. And in the first couple of years they had a number of accidents that happened on normal driving on the motorway where they lost control and just had a big accident, right? And for that reason, if you look at the Audi TT, it's very curved, comes down to the back, and it's rear wheel drive just like our Jags, okay? So that spoon type look lifted the car up, so there's less weight going down onto the wheels where you need the traction. So especially when it's wet, all us XF owners or XFR owners especially, that power going to those rear wheels trying to get traction, when it's wet and you're going at some speeds, you can break traction quite easily if you really wanted to. If that power went down, you can break traction. But what you don't want it to do is the car lift up and it spin off, right? Now I know Jag TT overcame the issue by adding a little spoiler on the back, which worked wonders. And then the design of the XF, it doesn't go down into a little slope. It does have this flattened area, and in the metalwork there is a little ridge here which does act as a slight spoiler. More sporty versions has that little lip on top, which increases that, so it adds stability at faster speeds. I'm just increasing it a bit more to give it even more stability. And you might say, well, why didn't Jag do that? The thing is that extra lip is going to add more drag. More drag means it's less efficient going forward, which is going to affect your miles per gallon. So when they're trying to overcome miles per gallon figures for their brochures and the usability of the car, they deem that small spoiler for 70 mile an hour driving in the UK is fine, right? And it is fine. I just want to increase it because I want more traction on the back, because 70 mile an hour, I know it's normal driving, but the difference between 50 mile an hour and 70 mile an hour, that lip actually increases a lot. That spoiler effect and the downforce, or the lift reduction, shall I say, not downforce, because you've got that lift. By putting that in, it reduces that lift, so you get more traction. The faster you go, the more and more effect that is, and it's not just linear like this on a chart. It actually ramps up. So when you get to a certain level, it starts raising higher and higher. So if you're going 80, if you're going 90, if you're going 100, that lift reduction or traction increase is going to increase more and more and more and more. I'm not saying I'm going 100, 110, 120. I'm just saying in theory, when you're going those speeds, you'll have more traction. And more traction is more safety, more predictability when you're driving. And that's what it's all about, is predictability. Okay, so we're into an issue. Because my car's got ceramic coating on it, it's not the fact that it's ceramic pro, but it's just the fact that it's got a ceramic coating on it. It's not being as easy to do. So I'll take you to the back in a sec, but basically the ceramic coating is not polishing up like you would your normal sort of lacquer. So it's I may have to take it into Adept to go have a look and see what they can do with it. As you can see, this little bit here, is actually a ridge where the ceramic coating has been applied, and I think that's exactly why I was struggling getting the sticky adhesive off, because the ceramic coating has gone into the foam and gone solid. So that's why I struggled so much. So basically I'm going to have to take this into the body shop for them to remove the ceramic coating, because when you're putting on a spoiler you can't put on top of the ceramic coating. Apply the spoiler and then re-ceramic coat it, but obviously they got to flatten this back and get paint, do a paint correction on it. So that'll be in the next video. But for the rest of you that didn't have ceramic coating on there already, I'll quickly show you how to refit a spoiler. Right then, so the original spoiler that was on there, it's actually nice and flexible, as you can see. So when it went on, it's very forgiving on sticking it down. It's always got a very tight seal. But the new one that I've got, as I showed you before, is made of carbon fibre, which doesn't flex. So when it goes on, it doesn't, it's not as forgiving, it's not as easy to do. So I've got to get this pressed down hard. Speaking to Adept, they told me to check the 3M tape on the back. So it is real 3M tape, but on the side, if you look, it's grey. So the grey one isn't the real strong one. It's strong, but to be able to get this down fully, they recommend using the black 3M tape, and they think it should stick. If it doesn't stick, then the last resort is using Tiger Seal. But when you're having to remove it with Tiger Seal, sometimes you have to have a respray. It's just that hard to get off. So yeah, so I'm gonna pretend that it's kind of it fits. So you're gonna line it up against the edge. If it's easy to do that way, you could just take the tape off, line it up with your fingers and bring it in. But it's hard because as soon as it's going to stick down, it's going to grab quite quickly. So you need to find out where it is. And what I'd use is masking tape and put it on the corners, straight across around here and up the bonnet, there and there. Then the tape will allow you to fold it over to remove the tape, and then you fold it back, and that should get you back in the exact same position as what you needed to. But before you press it down, just make sure it is the same position and push it directly in and down into the car, and then work your way out from the center. Don't want to work your way from the edges in, because you may have a bulge in the middle. So work from the center, push it all the way out, and then just hold it, and that should be it. But it looks like this sucker is going to have to be done professionally in between processes, because if it didn't have the ceramic coating on there, well, I might fit it myself anyway, we'll see, and then go back there for the ceramic coating we put on after the spoiler's on, but we'll see how it goes. That'll be video 2 anyway. So we'll cut this video where we are here, and because some of you won't have ceramic coating, you can just, this will be fine. But if any of you have got ceramic coating, watch out for my next video before you start.
And you can check if your car has ceramic coating, like you did on the inside of the car, because we didn't know that it had it.
No, we didn't. When I bought it, I didn't realise it did it. And that plate was inside the driver's door. But you'll have some sort of paperwork with it when you buy the car anyway. Anyway, see you next video, guys, and check out my other ones. Right, bye.